Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So this is about as bad as it gets. I mean, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. But Everytown, Everytown for gun safety, is now actually going to be part of our executive branch. And what do I mean by that? Well, Biden is set to announce his new Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which is essentially the office for creating gun control. Now, this new office is going to be headed up by, well, you guessed it, the top members of Everytown and other groups just like it. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going on, who's going to be running it, and what they're going to be doing. And, well, who came up with the idea to begin with? Let's get to it. Now, real quick before we get started, more than half the people that watch these videos are not yet subscribed. If you are interested in staying on top of your Second Amendment rights, hit that little subscribe button. It's free. It only takes a second, but it helps me out quite a bit. And that little alarm bell will let you know when new videos come out, because obviously this topic isn't shared all that often. So I want to thank everybody out there for watching this video. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's go and talk about what's going on here. So if you thought I was exaggerating about what this office is intended for, and that it's an office that's going to help promote and create gun control, let me just go ahead and show you guys who's in charge. So take a look at this, where it says Greg Jackson, Executive Director of the Community Justice Action Fund, and Rob Wilcox, the Senior Director for Federal Government Affairs at Everytown for Gun Safety, are expected to hold key roles in this office alongside Feldman, who has worked on gun policy for more than a decade and still oversees the policy portfolio at the White House. The creation of this office was first reported by the Washington Post. Now, they go on to say, with the quote here, a White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention would build on an already tremendous record of President Biden and Vice President Harris on gun safety, said Peter Ambler, Executive Director of Giffords. This has been a top priority of ours for years, and it would provide an important center of gravity for leadership across the administration as the President and Vice President implement the historic Bipartisan Safer Communities Act to push Congress to pass legislation to save lives. The hiring of Greg and Rob would show how seriously this administration takes its responsibility to address this crisis. Now, you'll notice something interesting there. The people who are running this office hold one specific viewpoint. There is no opposing viewpoint. You didn't hear that there was a director from Everytown and then there was also the director from the GOA or the FBC. No, it was only people with one specific viewpoint that their respective organizations have held since their inception, which is to infringe on people's constitutional rights. That's who's going to be running this office, and this office is only going to be coming up with ideas and ways to push things like the so-called Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. This is something they've been asking for quite a while now. As a matter of fact, Politico reports gun safety groups have pressed Biden to focus on the implementation of the hallmark gun legislation, they're talking about the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, and have argued that such an office would help with coordination across federal agencies. So yep, it's going to be part of the federal government now, a new federal office where your tax dollars are going to go to pay the executive of Everytown and other agencies so that they can find new and creative ways in order to restrict one of your constitutional rights. Now, the good thing about that is because it's a federal office and because this new federal office has to be paid through our tax dollars, the House holds the power of the purse, meaning that they could simply withhold funding from this office so that this office couldn't exist. Now, whether or not they'll do that is still yet to be seen, but if they wanted to and if they actually had the conviction to do so and hold strong to it, they could withhold funding from that office, basically stop it from ever being created in the first place. It would just become an idea and that would be it. Now, this seems to be modeled after what California did. California did something very similar, and they've been pushing for something like this on the federal level for years, as a matter of fact. All of these different groups, they want to get their hands in there. So what they started doing is they started putting people in different positions of power within the government, but then they thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and streamline it. People know that we're here. Let's just go ahead and make our own office so that we can conduct our business from within government. And then we can go ahead and we can coordinate with different people, come up with different suggestions and, ways to get bills on the floor and try and get them passed. And, we can advocate for what we want without any opposition from the other side whatsoever. That's basically what this office is all about. And, it's something that we really need to consider here because, as you can see, this is going off of the deep end now, right? So we've reached a level where now we're bringing in people to affect policy. These are, again, unelected people, unelected officials that are doing this. And whenever you have somebody who's unelected, that also means that they're unaccountable, right? So they're unaccountable to the people, and therefore they don't really care what policy they come up with, because it's not like they have to wait to see whether or not, they're going to win as the incumbent come next cycle. No, they don't have to worry about stuff like that. They're simply appointed and they're officials and they have their job. That's all there is to it. Until somebody comes around and says, hey, this seems to be pretty unconstitutional to me. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this office, or we're going to simply defund it. We'll see what happens. Either way, this is going to be a big test for the House, I think, coming up to see what they do about this. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you, let you guys know about it, and I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.